welcome to our webinar today. We're very excited for you to be here. Again, my name is Amy Keenan. I'll be your host, as well as I'll be presenting on Blue Moon's behalf today for their section of this webinar where we're talking about charting the future of Dynamics GP together. So excited to bring these three ISVs together because they've been in the channel for a very long time, especially in the dynamic space, especially working with GP partners and customers. And we know how it's kind of a little rocky. And sometimes the messaging out there isn't always, safe or concrete, so to speak. And so we're just here to voice how we're here to help in the years to come, and we're not going anywhere, and we still have solutions for GP, and a lot of us are still supporting and providing guidance and doing everything in GP as it normally were, just pretending it's not going away, because who knows, it might never go away. We don't know. Microsoft, kind of sends out the messaging occasionally, changing it occasionally. So we're just going to say it's not going away, at least for the near future for us either. But we're excited to be here to chat with you about all the things that we're going to be doing in this channel and in this moving forward, and how we're here to support you. So we're very excited for you to be here. So again, I want to just introduce who will be here presenting for you today. We have Jake Chakowski from V Technologies and Zubin Gidwani from Dynamic Budgets. And then, of course, me, and I'll be presenting at the end. But we will just briefly go over our agenda for today. And as you know, I am recording this, so I will be sending out the recording to everyone that registers and or attends today. But we will be talking about how 20+ years we've been helping customers streamlining shipping, and then commitment and ongoing support, and over 30 solutions for GP, and how we'll continue to enhance. And of course, we'll leave some time for Q&A at the end. So certainly put your questions in the chat, and we will get to them at the end. We can also email you if we don't have the answers at a later date, if we can't get you that answer now. But feel free to share that information with us. We'd love to hear any questions, comments, concerns as we end this presentation today. I have a really quick, cool slide that I just wanted to put together just to go a little trip down memory lane, because believe it or not, I have been in this space since 1999, which, yes, I have. And so why isn't my thing working? So yes, I've been here since we've been using this logo for Great Plains, when Great Plains was in Fargo, North Dakota. And I've made way too many trips there than I've ever wanted to in my life. But no, it's a great place to go and visit, just maybe not 5 or 6 times a year. So that was way back in the day when Great Plains started. And then we've kind of evolved over the years. Let me
interrupt real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think you're sharing your screen, or I'm not hidden.
It says I am screen sharing.
I can see it.
Okay.
Maybe it's just me. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
And we are recording.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We got all the things in place.
Okay.
So slowly the wheat went away, and we kind of transitioned to these wonderful logos, blue and yellow. Now we've got then we had the sails, and now today we have this wonderful contraption here on the left. So I just want to bring us to trip down memory lane before we get started, because a lot of us, again, have been in this channel for a very long time, and we've been around since the Great Plains days, and all of these logos and seeing this transition and kind of evolve over the years has been kind of extraordinary, kind of exciting. And like I said, we've been in the trenches of Great Plains for a very long time. So with that, I'm going to hand the reins over to Jake to get started on his presentation with you. So Jake, you may take the stage.
Thank you. I will go ahead and share my screen. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes, it looks good. So I'm going to mute and then.
Perfect. Well, thank you all for joining today. Excited to kind of walk you through Starship and Dynamics, where we began, kind of where we're going, and, how we can support here in the future. I'm Jake Chakowski. I'm the Senior Account Executive here at VTech, who handles the Dynamics space. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and get started here. So I just want to kind of start off with a little background of V Technologies, if you're unaware of who we are. So VTech was founded back in 1987, and Starship's been around since about 1989. So about well over 30 years of experience in the integrated shipping space. We got over, with those 30 years, we have about 10,000 companies who've used our software over time, and we've made many enhancements from the beginning of Starship to where we are now, and we're pretty excited about where we're going and where we've come. So we work with various ERPs and accounting platforms, but we've been in the dynamic space for about 25 plus years, and recently, over the past year, started to integrate with Business Central. As we know, people are moving there, but GP is basically our bread and butter. So we're very happy with that integration, constantly just making improvements on it. And so, just another quick little tidbit here. VTech was also recognized as a UPS Ready 2022 Premier Partner. So that's pretty exciting. So we're working very closely with our partners to really help streamline the shipping aspect of your operation. So it's kind of a little bit more about Starship and our GP integration. So Starship's had an integration with GP since back before it was acquired by Microsoft. So long-standing history there of different enhancements, different changes with GP, along with Starship, to creating different, modifications in there, so it works seamless with you. And like I said, we recently added that Business Central integration back in 2020. But really looking forward to future plans of our integration to GP. We have no plans to discontinue GP support in the foreseeable future. So as long as GP is running strong, we're going to keep running strong, making a lot of different improvements and making Starship just work that much better for you and your daily overall shipping aspects. So we will continue to launch new product features and carrier enhancements with our web client and our cloud versions that we're rolling out with Starship. So I'm sure you'll see a lot of announcements from us, just different updates and different modifications here and there. But we're going to continue to support our customers and future customers as best we can with GP support for moving forward there. Keep moving forward. So just a little bit about Starship and what Starship is. Really, Starship is just kind of a multi-carrier shipping solution for your parcel and LTL needs. Basically, having both kind of service levels and different service solutions in one kind of single location can help really just save you time and make your shipping organization and company more efficient across the board. So really, inside of Starship, you can leverage item level detail to help you automate different labels and documents for international and BOL shipping, for all the different documentation needed to ship your products properly and safely. You can also simplify your drop shipping with customized shipping documents inside of Starship to really help with that process. Along with just basic shipping, you can also have the ability to really consolidate your orders going to like locations. So it really helps if you got a large amount of orders going to like locations. Instead of having to process each of those orders one by one, Starship can really help you kind of minimize time by doing that all those large processed orders with one process across the board there. And basically, a lot of times, this day and age, a lot of people are looking to save money, on shipping or reduce their freight spend. What Starship allows you to do with the live rate shopping is you can be flexible with your carriers and the services that you use. So you can live rate shop inside of Starship to, maybe change the carrier here and there, pick a quicker transit or a cheaper rate with the different services and carriers you're using to help kind of save money on that aspect of it. And finally, you get some reporting out of Starship as well. So everyone wants metrics. Everyone wants numbers, how many packages you're shipping, what's it costing us, where are we shipping to? And basically out of Starship, you're going to get all of that out of the box with us. So you can take that those metrics with you when you're negotiating with the carriers, trying to get those better discounts on different lanes that you have. So basically some metric ammunition when you're going to battle with the different carriers you're using for some different discounts. So Starship is now kind of moving towards the cloud here. With our Starship Cloud, we also have a web-based product for our on-prem, but cloud's kind of the new age here. And with Starship Cloud, you get a lot of great functionality and enhancements. So Starship Cloud will allow you to always be on the latest version as it's updated every quarter for our users. So instead of having to wait for the upgrade every month for on-premise or wait for that to be released, Starship Cloud will do that for you. So you'll wake up the next morning, see it's updated, you'll be ready to go shipping without even a hitch. You'll have access to all of our carrier integrations as well as unlimited users. So typically with on-premise for Starship, you're buying carrier modules and user seats a la carte. But with Starship Cloud, you get access to all those kind of right off the bat. So you can use all of our carrier integrations if you have those carriers in your plethora of carriers you're using. And if you've got plenty of users across the board who want access to Starship, you can give those different users different permissions. So You can give your shipping team just warehouse permissions to only ship. You can give your sales team different permissions to just quote different orders. And you can give your executive team just reporting capabilities so they can only see reporting. So it kind of helps you balance that out. And then, of course, you have control of your own pricing. So if you're a shipper that's affected by different seasonality, where you're heavy in the winter months, not so heavy in the spring and summer, you're able to kind of adjust your pricing to really match that different seasonality going along with your shipping. So you're kind of set and covered with everything you need. There's no hitches in your shipping, because if there's a hitch in your shipments, then you've got problems in the back end there, and we don't want that to happen for you. So what you're seeing here really is just a list of all the carriers that we work with from a parcel and LTL integration standpoint. You're going to also notice some 3PLs on there. So pretty much all the major carriers that we work with, we can help suit your needs for your shipments. Now, if you don't see a carrier that you work with on the list, we have some different options for those scenarios where you might use a carrier that we don't integrate with. That doesn't mean we can't work with you. We just have a few different avenues to check before we have that discussion of, maybe that carrier isn't in the mix, but we've got some different avenues for you just in case you don't see your carrier up there. So along with Starship, you also have access to our e-commerce integrations. This is just a snapshot of all the e-commerce integrations that we work with. So not just writing back into GP, you also write back into the e-commerce platform that you're currently using. So here's just a quick snapshot of that. It's pretty, a lot of the major players here as well. Okay. So what you see here is basically the single screen view of Starship when you're shipping an order out of Starship. So everything has been pulled over from GP. You've got your order number, where's it going, who's it going to, you have your ship via, everything really that has been set inside of GP. Starship can pull it over from weights and dims of your specific items, values of the items for hazmat international shipping. You have your total charges from your contracted rates on there as well as applied rates down the bottom right, which is essentially just any kind of markup or freight rule, like we call them, that you want to add to each order. This just kind of helps you, minimize the different bouncing around from different tabs of having to set up an order. This kind of places it in one single user-friendly interface for you to really just streamline that shipping process for you. Another big thing with Starship is the live rate shop. So this is a little snapshot of kind of what it looks like inside of Starship. So say you're looking at your carrier, you want to go ahead and check the other rates of your carriers and service. So all you got to do is hit that run button at the top there, and that's going to ping all the APIs of the carriers that you're working with, bring back the different rates of the services that you have. So you can kind of get an idea of what it would cost you from your different carriers to ship this order. You can add filters of different required delivery dates that you need to. So it kind of helps you be flexible with your certain shipping lanes that you have. And you can also set a best case shipping where Starship can take this piece out of it for you and really just pick the cheapest carrier for you, pick the quickest delivery. So you're not really having to think through that at all. Starship can kind of automate that piece for you as well. Now, one of the main pieces of Starship with working with GP is the write back into GP. So this is just a quick little snippet of what it looks like of the write backs. We write back into the notes section along with the freight amount down here of your contracted rate with the applied amount. But we also write back into some user-defined fields, with tracking links and your contracted rates as well. But this is kind of the main piece of the write back here. So it's just, all the main information you need from your orders that you're shipping out are written back for you automatically. So there's no manual entry of having to type in tracking numbers, type in which carrier you're working with or which, when it was shipped on or all that stuff that's in there as well. Starship really takes that piece for you. So it kind of saves the time of the manual aspect of all that data entry. Along with, shipping comes all of the different, bill of ladings, documents, labels, everything needed for all of your shipping operations. So you have multiple printing options within inside of Starship. So you can have carrier generated documents and labels from standard UPS, FedEx labels, USPS labels. Starship also has some generic documents out of the box. So if you need just a blank BOL or a blank packing slip and label, you can kind of create those inside of Starship. But then there's also times where you need documents custom for, certain customers or larger customers with EDI orders, need specific information on the different documents that you're printing. We can work with you to create those documents. So sometimes we'll get our development team involved to make sure all the necessary information on there for you is set and ready to go for when you're shipping out your orders. Next, along with Starship, you've got your e-notify tool. This comes standard with Starship here. So a lot of times our customers are having to manually send, or before they use Starship, they had to manually send emails out to their customers saying, hey, your order's on the way. Here's what's coming your way. So it's a long manual process depending on how many orders are shipping out per day. And Starship can really take that legwork for you. Our e-notify tool is basically a customized and branded email template that once an order is shipped out, this kind of email example will be sent out to your customer saying, hey, thanks for your order. Here's what's coming your way. Here's the tracking links involved with your specific order. So they're not calling you all day long saying, hey, where's my package? I need my tracking link. It kind of puts the ball in their court to really hone and own that tracking link in case there's they want updates on their order. So they're not really calling you all day long. It takes out that manual piece for you, like I've said. Okay. This is a quick snapshot of what reporting looks like inside of Starship with the different dashboards that you have. So you see, we give you kind of a heat map that shows all the distribution points, just, giving you kind of an aerial view of where you're shipping to. Most areas you're not shipping. So maybe you look at the areas you're not shipping a lot of product to, and you're thinking, okay, maybe I need to have a conversation with my sales team and say, hey, how can we tap into that market? Why can't we push product that way? Or you can look at your red hot areas and take it to the carrier and say, hey, we're shipping this amount of product with you, that's spending this amount of money. How can we get better discounts with this specific lane? What can we do here to work with? So it just gives you a better idea of, what your shipping is doing kind of from a whole metric standpoint. You can configure that screen any way you want to. So it gives you the ability to just kind of have all your metrics in one place, along with all of your shipment needs in kind of one area. Well, I appreciate you all kind of giving me the time here to just speak a little about Starship and our long running history with GP. I hope to, speak with you further and speak with you soon, but I appreciate your time today. And I guess I'll pass it back over to Amy, and she can take it from there.
Well, thanks, Jake. All right. So next up, we have Zubin, who will be sharing his screen. Zubin, you're up. I hope. Zubin, did we lose you? You're muted if you are there. Or I might be going next and Zubin will be going last.
Okay, sorry, I was fighting with trying to find my mute button. Okay.
All right,
I was
I'll
also
let you take it
manipulating
away.
my monitors. Okay, so hopefully you'll see my screen here a second. We're gonna have to
yes,
cut
I
that
see
out.
it.
Alrighty.
Oh, Community Summit, I see. Now I see your,
Yeah.
I see your
Okay.
PowerPoint. Awesome.
All right, just by way of introduction, my name is Zubin Gidwani, founder of Dynamic Budgets. I'll turn my video back on. We have, sorry, trying to fight with PowerPoint here, trying to be nice. Okay. We basically have put together a company about 10 years back. We have been consulting with various different organizations across the spectrum of GP users, healthcare, professional sports teams, industry associations, nonprofits. Our customers range in size from maybe about 10 departments. Largest organizations have over 100 plus GP companies. One organization we worked with had 1,500 GP companies. Largest healthcare company we work with has about 25,000 cost centers. Organizations that span from maybe $10 million on their annual budget up to over $1 billion in their budget. So basically all shapes and sizes. My background, I'm a reformed accountant. I used to be an assistant controller, financial systems manager for public traded companies. Had the unfortunate experience of generating 600 Excel files for my management teams, sending those Excel files out to the managers and waiting for my inbox to blow up. So for those who still budget in Excel, been there, done that, couldn't find the budget solution that would meet our needs. So we built one, and I'll show you a little bit about that later today. I've been heavily involved in behind the scenes in the user group communities for GP. I was involved with GP, Great Plains User Group, early on. I think I came in year 2 or year 3. Went to the first conference and asked too many questions and ended up becoming a speaker. Was on the advisory committee for when I was a customer. Was the first recipient of the All-Star Award for our efforts and basically just a lot of behind the scenes work that we did with the organization. I've been on the content steering committee for the last 8 years, and we have been, or probably at least 8 years, we have pretty much set the agenda for the upcoming conference in October that's going to be in Charlotte. And I'll tell you a little bit about some plans that we have for that. For that user group conference, we have about roughly just a little bit under 100 sessions for GP. So a very strong learning opportunity for those that are looking to train their staff. State of GP, I just really want to talk a little bit, reiterate some of the points we've already made. Talk a little bit about the Microsoft Core product, third-party add-ons, support, then talk about training materials, online resources for you, and then kind of the state of the community. So not just kind of a product plug, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background and kind of insight from my perspective. With the Microsoft Core product, they're trying their best to drive everybody off of the on-premise system and to their new cloud ERPs because they can brag to Wall Street that they sold X number of dollars or units in more Azure services. Long story short, they're highly motivated to try to get people off of GP. They keep basically kind of messaging that GP is at end of life. But the fact of the matter is that they're legally obligated to support GP for 5 years from any point in time for the current version of the software. So even worst case scenario, you've got 5 years from today to keep using your software. Realistically, you are in the company of 15,000 plus other companies using GP today. Arguably 15 to about 30,000. We're having difficulty trying to put the right finger on the exact count, but over 15,000 users or companies are still using the product. You can't convert them overnight. It's going to take some time to transition those over. So you are in good company. That if GP is serving you well today, then a lot of people are just continuing to use it. And really, it's really about the while GP may not be, Microsoft may not be as aggressive about rolling out new features, the third-party add-ons are aggressively maintaining their products to stay relevant. It's very easy for us to maintain compatibility for dynamic budgets. In particular, we haven't had to respond to any of the changes that Microsoft has rolled out since GP 16. None of the core tables have changed their data structures such that by doing nothing, we maintain compatibility. A lot of partners will call up and say, what do we have to do? We just did an upgrade. It's like, just keep using our product. We don't really have to do anything to maintain compatibility. So a lot of us, it's a very mature platform. It's very easy for us to maintain, but you'll see that a lot of your third-party add-ons are adding new features and improvements. So talk a little bit about dynamic budgets. For those that aren't familiar, we are a zero-based, what you consider a bottom-up budgeting tool. Customers turn to us when they've outgrown Excel. Usually they've got non-technical, non-financial users who are incredibly gifted at breaking Excel or who are afraid of Excel. We give them a program in which it's almost bulletproof that an end user can't make mistakes, can't break anything with the software, no formula errors, no broken links, things like that. So you might have a starting screen that looks like this with a couple of years of historical budgets, a couple of years of historical references, and maybe you want to go ahead and key in your values on the screen or click into the account number and come in and itemize. Ideally, would like the end users to take control of their budgets rather than pushing back and saying, hey, this is some random corporate target that we can't comply with. It's just an unrealistic number that corporate gave us to try to march towards. We want those end managers to come in here, tell us how much, in which month, and for what purpose are they going to spend money. And when the end users have that ability to personalize the budgets, make it feel like their own, they take ownership and they pay attention to it. Now you can start running budget to actual reports on a monthly basis And when this expense came in, was this originally planned? Yes or no? Is it earlier or later than originally anticipated? Well, we paid the invoice and the services were performed a month earlier. Great. Is that a cost savings or is that an overrun? No, it's just a timing difference. Great to know. And you move forward, notate that in the software and take those notes and use that to forecast your next budget or your next end of year forecast. So that's the type of thing that we try to do. At the bottom of the screen here in the screenshot, I'm showing that as you're entering your budget for next year, you could look at back at January and question, why did we spend $1,500 in January? You could click that number and you'd get a pop-up screen here at the bottom. And you can actually drill down into the transaction details coming right out of GP. It tells you which vendor, what purpose, what the transaction description was. Jog your memory. Is this something that I might need to budget for next year? We don't need, the end users do not have to be licensed GP users. We're pulling the data right out of the database and simply making it a one-click experience for the end user. That's what the non-technical users love the most, is that we didn't have to go scrounging around on the network to find that financial report from 3 months ago and drill in Management Reporter to get to the transaction details. It was simply at the bottom of the data entry screen, one click away. What we've been working on, we are extending our product and moving along with some of our customers who are moving on to other platforms. We're moving to, we are available now on Business Central, Acumatica, and Intact. For those that are continuing to use our product, we're rolling out a new feature, new look and feel. So that's a little bit more modern looking, but at the same time, not abandoning our old look and feel to confuse our existing customers. We've added in new features and functionalities. One of those new features is pivot reports. Gives our customers a lot more flexibility in the types of reports that they can run. We're rolling out, becoming fairly aggressive in terms of giving more tools to help and guide our customers through the use of the product. We rolled out a help wizard where we can create new wizards on the fly, personalized to each customer. And then we've got sort of a progress workflow indicator down here that if we had multiple screens that you need to perform in an administrative function, we can actually stitch those together and show you and guide you as to this is the next screen that you need to go to. Where we're extending that next is we're going to have an online product tour where you'll have that little help bubble that shows over the top of, we need you to click here, click here, click here to do these certain functions. So embracing web type of technologies into our core product. Our roadmap, improving those guides, updating our training materials, converting a lot of our help articles to videos, trying to attract the younger generation. And then extending, when we're working with the cloud ERPs, we're now working with dimensions and extending that all the way down to user level security at dimension codes and dimension code combinations. And then we're starting to look towards predictive analytics. Can we do something like predictive forecasting and help the users identify what might be a recurring transaction, and shouldn't you think about planning to budget that next year? And exploring with our customers, what would they like to see us embrace for artificial intelligence and bringing that into the product. Wanted to talk briefly with support. Microsoft, it's kind of curious. We were actually not even sure what the status of support from Microsoft is these days. They're continuing to cut back on personnel and resources. A lot of the partners are starting to transition, trying to move towards the cloud ERPs. Some partners are dropping GP, so you may have to consider kind of reassess the skill sets with your partners and see whether or not there's the people you might need to be working with. It's been an interesting transition for some of our customers. Training materials, there's a wealth of online materials. We used to have the GPUG forums, but they've been retired. We are trying to resurrect them. Something is in process, but we just don't know what to expect yet. So there's still a number of online resources, bloggers, MVP sites. Here's a couple of my go-tos: enterprise software podcasts, or just general industry news. The Dyn module is a great registry of all tables and all fields in SQL for GP. then Victoria Uden. If you do anything worth reporting, you probably know her. I'll try to wrap this up quickly and pass this back over to Amy. But in terms of community, there are two organizations that you should know about. Dynamic Communities is basically the old GPUG organization. They have kind of de-emphasized gpug.com, and now it's Dynamic Communities. Go into the community, choose Dynamics GP, and you'll find an online discussion forum that's not nearly as active as it used to be when it was on GPUG. Unfortunately, they've had to shed the local user groups. The local user groups are now transitioning over to an organization called Dynamics Users Group, and you've got the link there, dynamicsusers.net. And that is trying to rekindle and restart the local user group chapters. Each of these organizations have a national conference. Dynamics Con has a virtual and live conference in March and May of each year. Next year's live event has been published for May of 2024 in Denver. We're not quite sure when the virtual conference will be, but the nice thing about Dynamics Con is that they publish all of their recorded sessions to YouTube. So you can go out to their YouTube channel, look at the playlist, and you've got the last 4 years of virtual conferences, and recorded and published out to YouTube for free. Dynamic Communities, you have to pay for the content. About a third of their sessions from the National User Summit are published out or recorded and published, but you do have to pay for those sessions. The next conference coming up for a live person is October 15th through 20th in Charlotte. So that's very similar to the organizations or the conferences you've seen in the past, probably about 7,000 to 10,000 users that will be congregating in Charlotte in October. Dynamics Con is a much more intimate environment. You're looking at probably about 750 to about maybe about 1,200 users next year in Denver, something like that. We'll see. So that's kind of just a little bit. We will be talking about the future of GP at Summit, really trying to showcase who are you in, who are your neighbors in GP, and doing a customer showcase and just kind of show you that at one point, 95% of professional sports teams were on GP. There's still 15,000 of you still using GP, so don't worry too much. That's still going to be around. Lots of third parties talking about cloud transitions, and one thing that the industry is going to be focusing on and trying to communicate is you've got a great opportunity to clean up and improve what you've already got. A lot of customers are going through archiving data, speeding up GP, cleaning up the charts of accounts, consolidating vendors, doing things, all these maintenance tasks we kind of pushed down the road. Now we're starting to think, hey, let's improve what we have today. So just kind of a general heads up, and I'll hand this back over to Amy.
Thanks, Ruben. That was great. Let me share my screen now. Okay, everybody can see it?
Yes.
Okay, so after our trip down memory lane, I'm going to briefly share with you a little bit about Blue Moon. So Blue Moon has also been in the Dynamics GP space for well over 20 years, almost 30 years, since 1994. And they've been developing products for this. And basically all of their products have come from customers needing it, and some kind of gaps in GP for accounting and distribution, for operations. And of course, they're slowly migrating their solutions over based on customers' needs to the other ERPs. One thing that they did do is acquire all of Encore Business Solutions GP add-on solutions a couple of years ago. So all of those Encore products are now part of Blue Moon's fold, which is over 30 solutions, which I'll briefly talk about in the next slides to come. And then we have over 2,000 customers using these GP solutions today. And of course, that's continued to grow, where they're continuing to sell GP solutions on an ongoing basis. So it's not going away anytime soon for us. And as I mentioned, over 30 solutions. So obviously can't go through all of these in any kind of way, shape, or form of a webinar or anything like that. But just so you can get a bit of a snapshot of longevity of Blue Moon in the channel and all the products they've created for all the different areas of the business that you currently use in GP. And then again, as we've all been stating here on this webinar, we are not going anywhere. We are still promoting, selling, and most importantly, fully supporting GP customers and partners. And there is no expiration date right now. And maybe there will be someday, but as for now, we don't have one. Another great thing about Blue Moon products is they're embedded right within GP. So it is a seamless experience. It's like you're just using GP. So you can see a couple of screenshots here of all the different products, how it seamlessly looks just like GP, like you're just using GP, but it is actually a Blue Moon product. So just know that, all the users will get this seamless experience as they're using the products. And that's with all of the Blue Moon products are all been embedded right in. That includes BC, F&O, and Acumatica as well. So Blue Moon strives to make it really seamless and basically built into the product. So it looks like you're just continuing to use that product. So it just takes a little bit of that learning curve away, which is nice. So if you are staying on GP, obviously we're here for you. We continue to support, we'll continue to enhance and provide upgrades for our products, and we continue to add new features as well. Some of the products on the roadmap that we have for GP are our pack and ship product and a Wayfair integration. And then on the roadmap for BC, we also have Wayfair integration, pack and ship, project tracking, which was a former Encore product that we had acquired. And then the warehouse integration, which is something that we've had in the GP space for a very long time. Basically, it's an integration between numerous warehouses so that the ERP can talk to the warehouse. So a lot of our customers that are in the GP space are now, that, as we can see, are moving to other platforms, trying to figure out what products make sense to move over with them. And then we are also on the roadmap for F&O. We have electronic payment processing, which has actually just been certified for F&O. And then we have our customer invoice portal coming, marketplace integration, and container management, which again, most of these have been GP products that we're slowly migrating over to the other ERPs based on customer needs and functionality. Any questions for you guys? We're going to open it up. There is a Q&A. There is a Q&A thing somewhere. If I can find it in Zoom, that would be nice, but I'm not going to. But there is a little Q&A section somewhere. So feel free to put your questions in there. We're happy to answer them. Either myself, Zubin, or Jake are on here to answer any questions you have from anything that we presented, any questions that you may have, any tools or resources that you're looking for, even in regards to GP. We're happy to help in some way, shape, or form. Zubin has a lot of knowledge around all of that. So he can certainly point you in the right direction of anything you might need as well. If I could find my Q&A thing, that would be nice, but I can't.
So we are here for you. I know GP audiences are usually pretty quiet, but want to
here we go.
Opportunity to talk about the industry, about your particular installations of GP, anything that you're struggling with or have questions about, feel free to chip away.
Yes, like I said, there is a Q&A icon where you can type your questions in there, and that way we can see them. And as we mentioned, Community Summit's coming up. That's the next live in-person conference for Dynamics in Charlotte. So hopefully some of you will be able to attend. It's a great event
I'll play teacher role here and throw the ball to Lisa Ireland. If you're out there, do you want to come on?
I don't know if we can unmute her. Hold on.
Unmute her?
Oh yeah, we can actually. Do you want me to?
Sure. Lisa, I was wondering what you're seeing with your customers. We have a few customers in common, and any trends in terms of cleaning up GP and maintenance activities that you're seeing out there that you're working with?
Not that we want to put you on the spot, Lisa, but you can unmute yourself now. Maybe she can't unmute. Maybe she's having issues.
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe she stepped away. Olympia or Dot, familiar faces there. Anything that your organizations are looking at in terms of trying to clean up or improve what you're doing and how you're using GP right now?
This is Dot. I will say that, that I got the email that said GP is going away. I did panic. I was happy to see that you were having this webinar today. Very happy to hear that dynamic budgets could also work with a couple other softwares that I'm actually looking at. I've been on GP since, 2006. I was kind of told to do my due diligence and make sure I was still on the proper software I should be using. So far, I think it's great. It's worked well for me many years. I love all the history that I still have. I love how dynamic budgets works with it. And it's so easy for my people that budget and really just go in there once or twice a year. It's just very simple. So I really don't want to switch. So I mean, this is kind of reassuring me. Hey, I have 5 more years. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to fear, you don't have to worry about it anytime soon. They are threatening, but yeah, I don't think there's a need for an immediate jump. There are a lot of companies jumping over to Intact and Acumatica. We see some activity towards NetSuite. It's more Acumatica, Intact, and Business Central right now that we see most GP customers considering. Olympia, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, knowing that I have few years. Yeah, it was kind of scary email when we saw GP is going away. And we did test a little bit of like the hosted activity and remote servers, and that did not work for us. So going full cloud-based, it's a little iffy, but we will probably have to evaluate our best options at the time. I know we were thrown Dynamics 365 and something else by our partner, but I'm not sure what we're gonna do as of now.
Okay. There are, we've done a few sessions as an industry. Chris Dobkins from Ingevity's got a session that should be recorded out there. I can probably send you a link, but there are options for those who are struggling with internal IT infrastructure, that you can move GP to the cloud. And there are some people that are extending the life of GP, trying to go after the resource constraints that they might have internally, personnel or hardware, et cetera, by just moving your GP up to the cloud. So you don't have to ditch GP to embrace the cloud. You can move the entire infrastructure up to a virtual server. And some people will do it themselves and have their IT team manage a virtual server up in the cloud. And some organizations are saying, you know what, we want the white glove service. Let's go turn to a partner, a managed service partner, and have them basically be responsible for making sure the GP is up and running. If you have an existing GP consultant, they can work in the middle, and sometimes people will go straight to the managed service partners and say, you know what, I want to transition from partner to them, or like Lisa manages, is pretty much runs the entire GP system on top of a cloud service provider and provides that service to her customers. So there's options out there for those who want to kind of embrace the cloud but aren't ready to leave GP.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And just so you know, all three of us, well, I should say all three of us, say Blue Moon, V Technologies, and Dynamic Budgets will all be at Community Summit. They all have booths there, so you can certainly visit them there and learn more and ask questions and, of course, get feedback. And we're all here, again, to support you in any way, shape we can. And, you know, as you're looking at other ERPs, you do have some time. It's important to look, of course, but you do have some time, so don't feel like you have to be rushed into anything. All right. Well, I
Mike
guess
Jett, how are you doing today? We'll see if we can take you off of mute and give you an opportunity to chime in about your organization, some things that the ministries are looking at. If you want to share any thoughts or concerns.
We're in the same boat as everyone else, trying to decide where we're going to head, and with all the external forces that we have pushing against us to move, it's reassuring to know that at least you guys are going to be there to continue to support us and offer options when we eventually do have to transition somewhere else. We're starting to explore other possibilities.
Yeah. Well, you got the jump start on this about 8 years back on cleaning up the chart of accounts.
We went through that exercise twice since then.
Yeah. The first time you went through it was 18 months long of revisions. So if anyone wants to talk about how to clean up your chart of accounts, Mike's team knows it well.
I'm about the only one left on that original team.
There are two approaches that you can take. There's a native GP tool called Account Modifier that allows you to merge accounts, rename accounts, renumber accounts, things like that. But there's also, if you're doing it to any extent, if you're doing it for maybe a couple hundred accounts here or there, you can use a GP tool. But there's a third-party product called Changer. Amy, did you guys pick that up, or who has that nowadays? Is it still Corporate Renaissance Group?
I think so. I think they have it still. I'm not sure though.
I'm not quite sure who has that tool nowadays, but there's a tool called Changer. And when you want to do a large volume of chart of accounts modifications, it has a much better track record. So sometimes the GP tool will get halfway through, trip over something, and then just stop, and you're not sure where it stopped at, and you have to try to repeat the process and go from there. Changer has a full audit log of all the changes it makes. If anything trips up, you can return to that history table and see where it dropped off at. And the nice thing is that the company that offers that solution has a service offering as well, such that if anything goes wrong, they'll come in and troubleshoot it and help your team assist to fix and resolve those issues. So handful of changes here and there is, relatively speaking, a couple hundred accounts here and there, GP tool. If you're talking a couple thousand accounts or more, I would suggest using a Changer.
All right. Will you all be going to Summit? I'm not sure yet. Olympia, Mike, or Dot?
Dot, this is Dot. I will be going. I haven't been in a couple of years and I feel like I'm a little bit off. So yeah, I need to get caught up.
Nice.
It's a great time.
It is.
Good sessions, yes.
Yeah, this is Olympia. I'm not going, but I have some of my staff going, so I will send them out on the search and discover mission.
There's going to be, I think, there's going to be a very big expo floor this time around. I think they're thinking over 200 sponsors. So, gotta get your walking shoes on.
Yes, comfortable clothes and comfortable shoes.
Yep,
That's the key.
it is. All right. Well, I thank you so much for joining us. I truly do appreciate it. Again, you feel free to reach out to any of us with any questions or concerns. We'll send out the recording. Zubin, if you could send me your slides, I'll include those because I know you had some great content in there and links that we can
Will do.
share with everybody. But if you feel free to ever need anything or have any questions or reach out to us, please let us know. We're here to help in any way we can as you think about staying on GP, transitioning, or whatever your future holds for your ERP solution. Obviously, these ISVs are here to help you with that. And then just to let you know, I do have another webinar coming up next week, MetaViewer and Data Courage, talking about AI and 6 ways you can use AI in your business, which we all know AI is taking over the world. So we need to figure out how we can use it to our benefits in our ERPs and in our business. So if you have time to join us for that, that would be great. But thank you again so much for joining us today. I really do appreciate it. And we'll see you next time, and maybe we'll see you at Community Summit. So thank you, everyone.